Good afternoon, everyone, especially to my students in grade 8. I have this initiative to send to you this video, and this video is intended to all my students who are having in trouble in reporting to school and getting the self-learning modules due to some uncertainties like they were in home quarantine situation, parents are too busy, and other aspects of difficulty. And also for those who are having difficulty answering their self-learning modules, though they handed it in their hands right now. So I hope this video will help you by guiding and helping you out from your work as a modular students. So remember, I'm not obliging you to subscribe, comment, or like the video, but if you wish to do it, I will appreciate that more. Okay, so let's start. This video will present reading activity, or what we call the screen test, reading comprehension, and it is divided into 3 parts. First part is the telling time, and after reading the passage, you are going to answer numbers 1 to 7 questions, and all of you should answer it correctly. The second part will be the counting the hours, and you are going to continue answering from numbers 8 to 13. And the third part, which is the last part of the reading activity, you're gonna answer the page or the numbers 14 until the last number, which is number 20. Okay, so we're gonna start now, and just follow me while I am reading the passage. Okay, all right. Telling time. Telling time, humans have used different objects to tell time. In the beginning, they used an hourglass. This is a cylindrical glass with a narrow center which allows sand to flow from its upper to its lower portion. Once all the sand has trickled to the lower portion, one knows that an hour has passed. Using the same idea, water clocks were constructed to measure time by having water flow through a narrow passage from one container to another. On the other hand, sundials allowed people to estimate an hour by looking at the position of the shadow cast by the sun on a plate. At night, people measured time by checking the alignment of the stars in the sky. None of these were accurate, though. The clock was the first accurate instrument for telling time. Now let's gonna answer questions from the passage telling time. Number 1. Which of the following ways of telling time made use of sand? A. Water clocks. B. Hourglass. C. Sundials. And letter D. Clock. Number 2. None of the clocks used long ago were accurate. Accurate in the sentence means A. Free from error. B. Comparable. C. Very useful. And letter D. Efficient. Number 3. When men of long ago told me at night, they look at the blank to tell the time. A. Cloud formation. B. Moon. C. Stars. And D. Sun. Number 4. The sundials may not be useful in telling time. A. At the noon time. B. In the morning. C. During a rainy day. D. When the sun shines brightly. Number 5. How are the hourglass and the water clock similar? A. Both tell time by the hour. B. Both use water to tell time. Letter C. Both are used only in the daytime. And lastly, for letter D, both have a narrow center through which something flows. Number 6. The best title of the selection is A. The uses of clocks. B. Why people need to tell time. C. Ways of telling time, then and now. D. Comparing the different types of clocks. Number 7, which is the last number for telling time passage. Which of these sentences in a topic sentence? A. The invention of the clock 600 years ago was the first accurate measurement of time. B. Hourglass contained sand that fell through one container to another. Letter C. Long ago, people used simple tools such as the hourglass. And lastly, for letter D, humans have used different objects to tell the time. Let's go to the next passage, the counting the hours. When men decided to divide the day into 24 hours, they used numbers 1 through 12 two times. As a result, there was 1 o'clock during the day and another 1 o'clock after midnight. This created confusion. If one was told to submit a project at 6 o'clock, did this mean 6 o'clock in the morning or at night? The Romans provided a solution to this problem. They thought that the noon time, the time when the sun is at its apex, is an important time. They called noon merides and measured time by this. They called the morning antimeridiem, which means before noon, while afternoon was called post-meridiem. Antimeridiem was shortened to AM, while post-meridiem was shortened to PM. So let's go to answer number 1 of this passage, number 8 rather. When the day was divided into 24 hours, what numbers were used to express time? A. 1 to 6, B. 1 to 12, C. 1 to 36, D. 1 to 24. Number 9. Having one number to express time twice caused confusion. In this selection, confusion may mean A. Differences, B. Discussions, C. Problems, D. Mistakes. Number 10. The Romans thought of a solution. This means that they provided blank. A. An answer to the problem, B. A better interpretation, C. A new set of numbers, D. Another clock. Number 11. Merides means blank. A. Apex, B. Noon, C. Before, and D. Daylight. Number 12. The early Romans used the position of the sun to tell the time. When the sun was at its apex, it was noon. What does apex mean? A. Highest point, B. Lowest point, C. Farthest point, and letter D. Nearest point. The last number for the second passage, number 13. Another good title for this selection is blank. A. Why there are 24 hours in a day. B. Why noon time is important to Romans. Letter C. How the Romans told time. And letter D. The meaning of AM and PM. And now let's go to the third and the last passage of this reading activity, which is nosebleeds. Having a nosebleed is a common occurrence. Children experience epistaxis when blood flows out from either or both nostrils, often for a short period of time. It may be caused by one's behavior like frequent nose picking or blowing too hard when one has a cold. It may also be caused by certain physical factors such as an allergy or abnormal growths in the nasal cavity. Or it may be due to environmental conditions such as exposure to toxic fumes or dryness of the air. While it is often thought that holding one's head back can treat a nosebleed, this can actually cause one to choke or vomit. The best thing to do is to lean forward, pinch the top of the nose, and apply a cold compress. And if that doesn't work, it is best to get professional help. Now let's go to the questions of this passage. Number 14. When children experience epistaxis, we can observe that there is blank. A. A steady flow of nasal discharge. B. Blood flow from the nasal passage. Letter C. buildup of mucus in our nasal cavity rather. And letter D, blood stoppage in the nostrils. Number 15. When an experience is described as a common occurrence, it is blank. A. An incident that is disappointing. B. An episode that is quite alarming. Letter C. An event that is no longer surprising. And letter D. An occasion that is overwhelming. Number 16. Which of these options help treat a nosebleed? A. Applying a cold compress on the nose. B. Pinching the nostrils shut. C. Holding the head back to keep the blood from flowing. And letter D. Applying a warm compress on the nose. Number 17. Which of these causes of a nosebleed are within our control? A. Allergies. B. Picking one's nose. C. Dryness in the air. And letter D. Abnormal growth in the nasal cavity. Number 18. Which of these factors that cause nosebleeds are directly within our control? A. Physical factors. B. Environmental factors. C. Behavioral factors. And letter D. Social factors. Number 19. This selection is mainly providing A. A description of nosebleed. B. The causes and effects of a nosebleed. Letter C. An explanation of what to do when one has a nosebleed. And letter D. A listing of the myths regarding treatment of a nosebleed. Last number, the number 20. Another good title for this selection is blank. A. Nosebleeds, a cause for concern. B. Nosebleeds, an unavoidable experience. Letter C. Nosebleeds, a common childhood experience. And letter D. Nosebleeds, a common myths and misconceptions. Congratulations, because all of you were done answering the reading comprehension or the screen testing. So I will provide, or we will check your reading activity as soon as possible. Thank you so much, and hope that you will answer your reading activity well and correctly, and see you soon. Goodbye.